residing under that umbrella. Well, that's only a decision, as I said before, that you can make. You have to decide for yourself. While you have the opportunity to choose, you must decide what religion you want personally to help you in your everyday encounter. Now we want to move to the institutional level. Let us now don't look at ourselves. Let us look at the group. Let us look at the world. Just before we do that, however, to be fair, I should give you some idea of what the Quran says about slavery and human rights abuses. Or people will say you jump all over Christianity, but the Muslims are not perfect. This must be mentioned. The Quran in the second surah says that a Muslim has an obligation to free slaves. On one occasion, one of the aristocrats of Arabia came to the Prophet. They were very prosperous people, intelligent people. And they said to the Prophet, "Our young daughter has arrived at the age of marriage. We would like her to be married to you." The Prophet ﷺ told the family, "I'm not the best person. You should be looking for the best person. Don't just look for fame. Don't just look for money. Look for the best person for your daughter. I am not the best person for your daughter." He said the best person for your daughter is Zayed. Zayed was a former African slave who had been adopted by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he said to this aristocratic family, "Behold the man that your daughter needs." Christians haven't been able to do that. Even Toynbee, Arnold Toynbee, the great European historian, said, "I don't have any doubts about the brotherhood of Islam because the Muslims gave their very daughters to Africans." If you can do that, according to Toynbee, you can do anything. What was the message? The message was equality. Equality for all. No class difference, no racial difference, equality in the religion of Islam. So before you make up your mind, Christianity or Islam, what is the religion for the black man? Think about brotherhood. Think who was selected for slavery, how long it lasted, and why there's been no apology until 1992. No one. Institutionally, we're now talking about planning. We're not talking just about our individual desire to pray every day. We're saying, look at the world. And you're now trying to decide for the world which is the best religion. Not you selfishly, for all the Japanese, for all the Chinese, for all of Africa, for all of Asia, for all of Latin America, and all of Europe. Which is the best religion today and why? So you're becoming a social planner. And your first step is to look at the most pressing problem today in the world. What is that problem? Education. Mass illiteracy. What are we going to do about it? So we bring up the Christian church and we say, we're not abusing you. We don't want to scold you. We are inviting you to give us your program to educate the masses of people in the world. Just tell us what it is. And we eavesdrop on it. And we hear some of them preaching, saying, well, education is not that important. After you die and get to heaven, then God will give you all the education that you need. Others say, no, education is important. We're going to start teaching education. But what do they teach? They teach that Jesus was white. You cannot even imagine an angel in heaven with wings who looks like me. Try it. Just imagine an angel, even Martin Luther King. Maybe I'm not holy enough and I'm not righteous enough. Think about Martin Luther King. You've seen him before. Think about him flying in heaven. You can't! Because they told you that angels have to be white. In their school, they are still furthering a doctrine of racial superiority. Can the third world survive with Western educational institutions that teach them to hate themselves? On the other hand, Islam teaches us racial pride. There's a difference between racial pride and racism. The Quran condemns racism. Any race that thinks that they're better than another race, that race is condemned. And the individuals of that race, if they adopt that view, they are condemned. It is illegal. It is unholy. It is unrighteous. There is no race inherently better than any other race. So racism is condemned outright. The Quran doesn't have all these stories about Noah cursing people and God changing people's physical features. That is not in the Quran at all. So we don't grow up with pernicious racist doctrines. Our educational programs teach us that there is nothing wrong with racial pride. We think that the Chinese should have racial pride. The Japanese should have racial pride. The Africans should have racial pride. The Indians should have racial pride. The white people should have racial pride. As long as it is not racism. Because the Quran said Allah made the tribes and the nations. He did it so that we would understand each other better. If I know the tribal history of the Russian Muslims, when I go over there to visit them, I can communicate easier. I can communicate faster. I know what they want. I know how to try to plan to help them because I know who they are. If I want to go to Pakistan, it would behoove me to read some of the history of Pakistan so that I would be able to know who the poets are. And I would know the various tribes within the country so that I could be as effective as possible in trying to help my brothers in Pakistan. When I go to Latin America, I want to know as much about the Indian tribes as I can in Latin America. When I go to Brazil, I want to know as much as I can about the Indians and the Africans. The Africans are 50% of Brazil. So I want to find out, where did you come from, brother? Some came from the Yoruba. Some came from the Hausa. I'm going to start learning about Hausa, so when I go to Brazil and I meet the descendants of the Hausa, it helps me understand them better. The Quran says that Allah made the tribes and the nation so that we can understand them better. There's nothing wrong with knowing your heritage and your history. The problem is, for the last 300 years, the countries of Europe have tried to convince the world that the black man is the most degenerate on the scale of human life. We are the worst. We have been taught, and what has been beaten in